This is Rachel from Limble with a team training video that will walk you through the processes of training your technicians to use the Limble app to create, assign, track, and complete work. This training should take about 45 minutes to complete. We are very glad to be working with you and are excited to get you and your team up and running. Before we get started, here are the things you need to do to prepare for this training. Add at least some of your assets into Limble. Almost all work in Limble will depend on your assets, so you will need some to complete this tech training. Make sure to define which assets you will use to practice during this training, and that all participants know which assets to use. You'll hear me talk about assets from my asset list during the course of this training. During those times, use the assets you have chosen from your asset library. Learn more by watching our video on how to set up assets. Add all of your users to Limble because they will need to be logged into their accounts for this training. Learn more by watching our video on how to add users. Next, you'll want to select a meeting place where everyone can see this video at the same time and follow along. Before the training, you need to make sure that everyone has a device where they can access their Limble account. We recommend using a device that will simulate a day in your working life. If most of the training participants will be using a mobile device or tablet, they should download the Limble app and use that device for training. Make sure everyone is logged into Limble before the training starts. To do this, users will open the Limble app and enter their username and password. Then click Login to be taken to the mobile homepage. You will need to designate a training leader. This person will assign tasks to the other team members, pause the video when necessary, and confirm that everyone is caught up with the group. Pause this video now so you can complete the previous steps. When the video starts back up, I'll be training you and your team on the basic functions of assigning and completing tasks in Limble. Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and I'm going to be training you on how to start work orders and complete work orders in Limble. Before we get started, everyone needs to have their Limble account open because this is an interactive training. There needs to be someone on your team who is acting as the training leader. Pause the video now so the training leader can make sure that everyone has their Limble account open. Limble is designed to make your job easier and to save you time. If at the end of this training you feel that Limble is not making your job easier, please let your Limble representative know so they can make the adjustments you need. Our mission at Limble is to empower and help you. It's important to note that some screens may look different than mine due to user permissions and account configuration. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to your Limble Customer Success Manager or our support team for assistance. Let's get started with the training. This first section is for the training leader. Participants, you won't have to do anything right now, but make sure you're following along. Training leaders, make sure that you are on the Manage Work page as I'm showing here. You can find this by going to the Locations icon from the navigation menu, selecting a location, and expanding your list of options with the caret icon. From the drop-down, select Manage Work. Once you are on the Manage Work page, you will want to have the By User view selected. If you have not yet entered work into Limble, your Manage Work page will be in what we call an empty state, and the user view will appear once you create a work order. As I was working on the loading dock today, I noticed that one of the overhead lights is burnt out and needs to be replaced, so I will create a work order to get it replaced. The training leader needs to select the green Start Work Order button to start their work order. This will take you to the Assign an Asset window. Your asset list will look different than mine because it contains the assets you have entered into Limble. Now we need to select an asset. In this example, I will select the loading dock. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, choose one of the assets from your asset list. You will select an asset by clicking on its name, which will turn the box green. Then hit the green Select button. This will take you to the Setup Work Order screen. The first thing you'll need to do is enter a name for the work order. To do this, find the text box with the header that says Name in the top left corner and enter a name. I'll call my work order Burnt Out Light. Now we need to assign somebody to this work order. Select one of your team members who is currently in this training from the user list towards the bottom of the screen. I will select Cheddar for this example. You'll know a user has been selected when the box turns green. For this part of the training, you'll be making unique work orders for each training participant, so make sure to only select one user for this work order. Once you've selected a user, click on the green Create button at the bottom right of the window. You should see the work order under the user's name. Congratulations! You have assigned a work order to one of your users. Training leaders, pause the video and repeat this process until you have assigned a work order to each of your team members who are participating in this training session. Be sure to create a unique work order for each user. This will require you to repeat the process we just did for each unique work order. Depending on the size of your training cohort, this may take several minutes to do. Training participants, use this time to make sure you are ready to participate in the next part of the training by logging into Limble on your mobile device. Training participants, you should be logged into Limble on your mobile device. Your homepage should look similar to how mine is showing here. Training leaders, pause the video now to make sure everyone's homepage looks similar to mine. Now that everyone has successfully logged into Limble, let's take a look at what an open work order looks like. All training participants should refresh the homepage by dragging down on the screen. Now, the task counter of an assigned task will appear in your tasks. Depending on your permissions in Limble, this will either be called Open Tasks or My Tasks under the Essentials header. Everyone should click on that button to see their task list. As you can see, I have one task on my list. Training leaders, pause the video to make sure everyone has an open task on their device. Now, click on the work order title to open the task. You can see the details of the work order. You will need to scroll down to the instructions and click on the checkbox to indicate that you have completed the instruction. Pause the video to make sure everyone is caught up and to answer any questions. We are now ready to complete this task and log the time it took to do the work. Everyone make sure that your instruction box is checked. Then click the green check mark button to complete the task. We are now in the Complete Task window. In Limble, you need to record the time you spent on each task. This will be very helpful for your team to track which pieces of equipment require the most work. Enter your time. For this example, I will log 1 hour and 45 minutes. Once time has been logged, click the green Complete button at the bottom of your screen. Laugh at your GIF and congratulate yourself for completing your first task in Limble. The GIFs are in Limble to make you smile and to thank you for all of the hard work that you do. If you don't want to see them, they can be turned off in your profile. For the training leader, if you refresh the Manage Work page on the desktop, you should see that there are no longer tasks assigned to your team members because they have completed their work orders. Pause the video here to make sure that everyone has completed their task. Also, ask your team if anyone has any questions. Keep in mind that we are going to be walking through 2 additional examples that will cover other elements of completing tasks in Limble. For this example work order, we will have each of the training participants start their own work order, assign it to themselves, and complete it. To return to the mobile homepage, click the menu sandwich on the top left-hand side of your mobile screen, and then click on the Home button at the top of the list. During today's shift, the conveyor belt on wrap line 1 broke down, and it needs to be fixed. Before I fix the conveyor belt, I need to start a work order in Limble. To start a work order, click on the Start a Work Order button under the Work Orders header. The first step is to select the asset that the work will be done on. Assigning an asset is important because it ties this work to that piece of equipment and over time builds an in-depth record of what work has been done, how much time that machine is requiring, and how much it's costing. This information can be used to help make decisions about replacing equipment. Again, this is why the industry best practice is to log every task you do in Limble. For this example, I'm going to be performing work on conveyor belt 1, so I need to select conveyor belt 1 as the asset for this work order. Again, your asset list will look different than mine because it will contain the assets you have entered in Limble. Find the asset you want for the work order. Then, click on its name until the box turns from gray to green and is highlighted as mine is showing here. Finally, click Select. This should take you to the Setup Work Order screen, also known as the work order form. Let's fill it out, start it, and then complete it together. Pause the video and make sure that everyone is on the blank work order form. The first step is to name this work order. I'll name my work order Replace Conveyor Motor. In this work order, we'll add a picture. This is a great way to provide additional detail. Go ahead and do that now by clicking on the Add Picture/Document button. On my iPhone, I will select the Take Photo option, take my picture, and then hit Use Photo to add it to my work order. Depending on the type of device you're using, this process may be very slightly different. Pause the video here to make sure everyone has had a chance to add a photo to their work order. Next, scroll down to the Users section and assign the work order to yourself. Make sure the box around your name has turned from gray to green and is highlighted as mine shows here. Once you've assigned the task to yourself, click the green Create button at the bottom of the screen. When you assign the work order to yourself, the task will open up on your screen as you can see here. Pause the video while everyone finishes starting their work order. As you can see, this work order looks the same as the one you completed earlier. This time, we're going to use a few more functions on the work order screen. This bar at the bottom of your screen is the timer. The timer will run as long as you have this task open in the app. It will keep track of the time this task has been open and will make logging the time you needed to complete the task easier. We'll be touching more on this as we go. Scroll down to the instructions and click on the checkbox to show that you have completed this work. As you see, a few things have changed now that the work has begun on this task. The status of the task has changed from open to in progress, and the status bar at the top of this window was also updated to 100%. This time, we're also going to add a comment to our work order. Comments will live with this work order record and are helpful for communicating with your team. To add a comment, scroll down to the Comments section and click the Add Comment button. Comments can serve as notes for this record, but it's helpful to tag other team members to communicate with one another about a task. To tag a team member, first use the @ symbol, and you should see your user list populate. Click on the team member you're looking to add and continue your message. For example, I can write, Candy, I'm going to replace the motor on this belt. Once you're satisfied with your comment, click Submit. Pause the video now so everyone can add a comment to their work order. Now we are ready to complete this task. Click the green check mark button to complete this task. This takes us to the Complete Task window. Add the time it took you to complete this task, and remember that the timer can help you keep track of how long you were working on it. The time function does not log your time for you. Rather, it will count up the time you have a task open. When you complete the task or select the Log Time button, it will populate the time fields with the amount of time you have had the task open. As you can see here, I've had the task open for a few minutes. I can make adjustments to the time if needed. The timer function can help you keep track of your time. Before you start working on a task, it is a best practice to open the task in Limble so the software will keep track of the time you spend on the task. Keep in mind that if you close your Limble app, or if you stop viewing the task, then the time logged on the timer is erased. You're probably already doing this, but we're going to repeat it here. The industry best practice is, if something didn't get logged in Limble, then it didn't happen. We are also going to log unplanned downtime on this task. Unplanned downtime is a very important metric to track when an asset being down impacts production. Select the Yes circle under the Unplanned Downtime section, and the Time selector will open. Just like with logging the time you spent on a task, add the hours and minutes that this asset was down. Similar to the task timer, Limble tracks how long since a task was started in order to help you know how long an asset was down. The time since the task was created will automatically populate, and you can adjust the time from there. For this example, I will say that this conveyor belt was down for 3 hours and 25 minutes. Downtime happens when equipment is not capable of producing revenue. In a manufacturing plant, downtime happens when manufacturing equipment cannot produce what is being made. Some Limble customers may not track downtime at all, such as facilities maintenance teams. Training leader, pause the video here to discuss with your team when to log downtime and which assets they would log downtime on. Once you have updated your time spent on this work order and the asset downtime, click on the green Complete button to finish this task. Laugh at your GIF and pat yourself on the back. Another job well done. Training leader, pause the video while everyone finishes logging time and completing their work order. Congratulations, everybody, we're almost done. We're going to have you complete one more work order to show you a few more helpful things and then turn you loose to start completing work orders in real life. But first, we need to talk about the industry best practice called the 75% rule. Each full-time maintenance tradesperson should be logging at least 75% of their working time in Limble. That means that in an 8-hour day, at least 6 hours should be logged in Limble, resulting in at least 30 hours by the end of the week. When you track your time in Limble, your team will be able to see which pieces of equipment are the biggest drain on resources. Learn more by checking out our video about how logging your time this way will help you and your team. Pause the video here to discuss with your team how you plan to implement the 75% rule. Once you've discussed this, make sure the training leader has the Manage Work page open on the desktop and that training participants have their mobile devices handy with the Limble app open. You will need these for the next section. Next, we will learn how to collaborate on a task that requires multiple people. Training leader, you should be on the Manage Work page. Let's start a new work order. As a reminder, you do this by clicking on the green Start Work Order button at the top of the Manage Work page. From the new pop-up, choose an asset. For this example, I'm going to choose Boxing Machine 1, but again, choose an asset from your asset list. You should now be on the Setup Work Order screen. Name your work order. I'll name this one Replace Seals. Now, assign this task to all of your training participants. Scroll down to the Users section and click on everyone's names. Make sure everyone's names are highlighted in green like mine show here. Once you've selected your training participants, hit Create. You should now see a new user group list that contains all of the training participants and the task you created underneath. Technicians, navigate back to your Open Tasks screen on the mobile app. As a reminder, you can find this from your mobile homepage. Under the Essentials header, click on My Tasks or Open Tasks. From your Tasks page, you should see a new work order has been assigned to you. If you don't see this immediately, give it a moment and pull down on your screen to refresh the app. Training leader, pause the video here to make sure everyone has successfully navigated back to their open tasks and has been assigned the work order. If you missed anybody, you can easily add them by opening the work order from your desktop, clicking on the user icon, and adding additional users from there. Once the user has been added, they can pull down to refresh their screen and the work order should appear in the tasks. Now that everyone has been assigned this work order, click on the work order name to open it. In this example, let's suppose that all of you are working on this task, so you will all need to log time on it. Scroll down to the instructions and click on the box to complete the instruction. Now you need to log your time. Select the plus button at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This will expand more options for you. From the new list of options, select the Log Time button. Now, enter the time you have spent working on this task. Then, click Record Time. This should take you back to the work order. Training leader, pause the video here until everyone has logged time on this task. Now that everyone has logged their time, any of the assigned people can select the green checkmark button to close out the task. In the new screen, make sure everyone's time has been logged. Then click Complete. You have now been trained on the main functionalities of completing a task in Limble. This training does not cover everything you can do, so before we wrap it up, I wanted to point out two other important buttons. Under the plus button, there are several additional options. This option is for adding parts to a task. Check out our video about adding parts in Limble to learn more. This option can be used to add invoices. It allows you to upload an invoice or receipt from an expense associated with this task. For example, if I had to bring in an outside contractor or buy new tools to complete this task, I would add the invoice here. Thank you for all your time today. We're very excited to have you using Limble, and now you're all ready to start using the system. The whole Limble team is here to help you get the most out of Limble and to answer any questions you may have. If you need help, you can use this chat bubble to talk to a real person. Also, feel free to reach out to your dedicated Limble Customer Success Manager at any time to request help. From all of us at Limble, we're so happy to have you here.